Last week, I shared with you my review of a monitor with the 1440p resolution on a smaller 24-inch display. This time is the other way around. We're going to check out a monitor with a 1080p resolution on a larger 27-inch display. I'm talking about the Viewsonic VX2728J. The Viewsonic VX2728J features a 27-inch Full HD IPS display with up to 180Hz refresh rate, 0.5 milliseconds response time, HDR10 certified, and with over 100% sRGB color accuracy. It also features a highly versatile support bar and base and is also VESA mount compatible. The build quality is also quite outstanding. It essentially has all the bare essential features that I'm looking for on a gaming monitor, except for its weird combination of resolution and display size. Let's talk about that. Let's get into it. Before anything else, let's start with a quick unboxing and assembly. The monitor came in a brown box but with some decent branding and details around it. Again, what we have here is the VX2728J variant. It is Versa Clear MR and Adaptive Sync verified with AMD FreeSync Premium. As you have guessed, the monitor is sandwiched between two styrofoam with the accessories nicely tucked inside. We have a power cable, one DisplayPort cable, another power cable, a power brick, a cable management clip, some screws for the support bar, the user manual, a high-quality support bar made out of aluminum and plastic, and a robust V-shaped base made out of aluminum. Unfortunately, no HDMI cable is included. Now, this particular variant supports VESA wall mounting option, but it also comes with a highly versatile and sturdy support bar and base. All you have to do to put them all together is line up the support bar like so and secure it with the included screws. Then insert the V-shaped base at the bottom and tighten it up using your hand or a flathead screwdriver. You can also snap in the included cable management clip like so. I can honestly tell you that the build quality of this monitor, from the monitor itself down to the support bar and base, is really solid. I also appreciate that the energy rating sticker doesn't leave any adhesive marks on the panel, which is a well thought out idea. As you can tell, the Viewsonic VX2728J looks quite clean and minimal with a V-shaped base that actually doesn't take that much space. Here in front, we have an anti-glare finish, relatively thin bezels all around, subtle branding, and some icons for the OSD buttons. At the back, we have the support bar and base, the cable management clip, VESA mounting option, a large Viewsonic logo, and an overall relatively minimal design. The V-shaped base also has a hole that you can also use to route the cables. This monitor also has a couple of 2-watt speakers on each side, a model sticker right here, and a technical detail sticker here. In addition, it also has some ventilations up top, a Kensington lock at the bottom, and tactile OSD buttons on the other side. In terms of ports, we have one power port, two HDMI ports, one display port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. In terms of adjustment options, it has all you need. You can tilt it up and down up to 5 degrees, adjust the height up to 90mm with a very smooth sliding mechanism, swivel the support bar up to 20 degrees, and pivot the display all the way to portrait mode. It also has a nice Viewsonic boot up logo. The wallpaper of choice for this monitor review is none other than the Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen. Now, with the monitor turned on, the bezels are still quite thin, especially on the sides. Now, in terms of the OSD settings, it is surprisingly intuitive, I would say. Pressing the button with the star icon reveals the picture presets, and pressing the button beside it will cycle you through volume, brightness and contrast, and input source shortcuts. Pressing on the second button will enable the built-in crosshair. Now, pressing on the next button will show the main OSD settings. Here we have input sources, audio, view mode, color adjustment, manual image adjustment, and setup menu. We'll tackle some of the notable features here later. Moving on, let's talk about the quality of the display panel itself. The good thing about this monitor is the outstanding color accuracy. First of all, it has good color calibration out of the box, as you can see here. Second, as per testing, it covers up to 100% sRGB. In fact, it is rated up to 132% sRGB coverage. It also has 85% NTSC, 88% Adobe RGB, and 95% P3 color accuracy. That is more than enough for social media and web applications. It can also pass for some non-critical professional work and is most definitely substantial enough for YouTube videos like this. On paper, it is rated up to 250 nits of brightness, and as per checking, it is near that range with up to 240.8 nits at max. Another thing that I like about this monitor is that it is HDR10 certified, meaning it can output 10-bit colors, which is good for video editing. I'll share with you some sample clips later. Now, backlight beading is present, especially on the corners. It's not that distracting, especially in a well-lit room, but definitely noticeable in a darker room. There is a slight reduction in brightness looking at the side, but there are no dark spots on a white background at all angles. As you can tell from these sample videos, color-wise, the image quality of the Viewsonic VX2728J is really good. It can produce vivid and accurate colors with decent contrast and details, especially when you take advantage of its HDR capability. First, turn HDR on via the OSD settings, then turn HDR on via Windows settings, then load HDR supported content like this YouTube video. If the HDR option is not available, just refresh the page. As you can tell, there is a substantial difference in terms of the overall dynamic range. The contrast levels have increased, the colors are more vibrant, and the details are fairly enhanced. The details on the highlights are preserved, but the shadows are noticeably darker now. So yeah, you can definitely take advantage of some HDR content, but since the max brightness of this monitor is just up to 250 nits, HDR is quite limited. Now, even though this monitor is not validated as G-Sync compatible, you can still enable it. Just make sure to enable the adaptive sync feature via OSD so that the G-Sync setting will show up on the control panel. Now, up to this point, those are the things that I like about this gaming monitor. How about the things that I didn't like? Well, let's talk about that. Essentially, there are two major things that I didn't like about this monitor that might be a deal breaker for some, including myself. Pixel per inch density and its rated maximum refresh rate. Let me explain. Putting a lower 1080p resolution on a larger 27-inch display will result in a lower pixel per inch density since there are fewer pixels scattered across a larger display size. As you can tell, you can definitely distinguish each pixel on the screen when you look closer, and when magnified using a macro lens, you can even see the RGB or red, green, blue layout of the pixels. Granted, you will not notice these pixels looking at the monitor from a normal distance, but it doesn't defeat the fact that the crispiness, sharpness, and overall clarity of the image are less than ideal, especially the things that are far away or small. This means it's not the best for FPS games or any games that require precision and clarity. I can only think of one reason why this monitor exists, and that is the cheaper price in return for a larger display with good color accurate panel. The next thing that I didn't like about this monitor is its advertised maximum refresh rate, which is either 165 or 180Hz depending on what product page you're looking at. Its native resolution and refresh rate are 1080p and 120Hz. You have to choose the PC option to get up to 165Hz, and if you want to take advantage of the higher 180Hz refresh rate, you'll have to turn on overclocking via the OSD settings, which to be fair is fine. I didn't encounter any issues with it. There's no frame skipping or drop frames, which may happen when you overclock a panel. I also didn't notice any overheating on any part of the monitor. That is good, but I still would have preferred a native 180Hz or at least 165Hz refresh rate. Again, these compromises are due to the fact that this monitor is priced at only around 11,799 Philippine pesos. We'll talk more about the pricing later. Another thing, this monitor is rated up to 0.5 milliseconds response time. Take note though that this is MPRT or motion picture response time, which in order for you to take advantage of, you'll have to turn off adaptive sync. The MPRT setting on this monitor is essentially the typical backlight strobing feature, which makes the response time faster in return for lower brightness and the backlight strobing effect. You will not see this strobing effect in normal viewing, but it's happening. The good thing about this is that even without the MPRT, its rated GTG or gray to gray response time is 1 millisecond, which is already pretty decent without any compromise. Overall, to conclude, the colors are amazing with outstanding color accuracy. The dynamic range is good enough, and the build quality is super solid with the highly versatile support bar and base. However, I gotta be honest, recommending this monitor for competitive gaming is going to be hard. I've tried my best to get accustomed to the lower pixel per inch density, but it's just harder for me to get headshots with this. The details are just not that ideal when shooting enemies from afar. In my honest opinion, you should only get this if your purpose is for productivity and content creation, and maybe for games that don't require high PPI. With that said, I would highly recommend you to look at either the cheaper Viewsonic VX2728J, which is a 24-inch 1080p 165Hz monitor, or the more expensive but still relatively affordable for its specs, the Viewsonic VX2728J 2K, which is a 27-inch 1440p 180Hz monitor. I actually wish that's the one I reviewed because for sure, that's an easy recommendation. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. As usual, honest disclaimer, this video is not paid, but Viewsonic did send a review sample for me to experience. They will not review this video nor the script, and they'll see this at the same time as you'll do. I'll put some links below, including the links for my recommendation if you're interested. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day, guys. You're awesome.